Ajay, why don't you introduce yourself on the video? So,
Hi, my name is Ajay Gupta. I am Vice President at HP, responsible for the R&D hub in India.
okay, you started your career in UK, HP career in UK,
Yes, I
and you've
started
been
with HP in 1986, right out of college.
okay,
And I've been through HP in many different businesses around the globe, and very proud to be back
so
in India.
your first and only job as yet.
Pretty much, for a while I worked with a joint venture of HP and Ericsson,
Okay,
which was for 5 years.
okay. One question that I had when the presentation was going on from you and Joshi, there was an interesting stat which is 85% smartphone users want to print, and which is ironic because still most of the all of the mobile platforms do not support native printing.
Yes.
Uh, there was a Google Docs integration that you showed. So, do you have any plans to work with the platform owners like Microsoft, Google, and Apple to build this natively? So, I have an HP application or an HP native functionality.
Yes, of course, yes. So, this evolution is taking place in steps. First of all, a lot of these mobile platform providers didn't think of printing at all.
Yeah.
As Vijay was saying, when iPad first got launched, then they did a survey, what do you find missing? Number one thing was printing.
True.
So then they immediately, of course, worked with HP and we kind of enabled the AirPrint part. At the same time, we are working on basically kind of unlocking the printing from the device which you access content. So because the content is on the cloud. Today I'm accessing something from my phone, sometimes from my PC, sometimes maybe from my television. So that content will be accessed from all over the place. And for a whole variety of reasons, people want to have hard copy.
True.
So I think that's the part which we are enabling. So first thing what we did was connectivity through email. Now, email is a great transport mechanism because it's so ubiquitous. Almost every device has email capability. So that what happened last year. But what we also realize is email is a kind of the reliability, particularly latency is not
True.
sure.
Correct.
So that's when we started working on more direct cloud-to-cloud integration, which is what we showed for the Google.
Okay.
And then the next level is at the OS level. So, for example, we have done it with Chrome.
Chrome OS. You mean?
Yes.
Okay.
For Chrome OS, of course, we are working on Web OS being our own. We will do, and there's a conversation also with other main platform providers.
Okay. The focus in the entire presentation and your demos were mobile and also remote. The video that played showed a girl printing a map from San Francisco to an office in London. So remote and mobile is the next step. And you mentioned that you brought these printers in 2010. What's the step forward? I know all my content is in the cloud. My content is on Facebook. My photos on Facebook. Do I still have to download the photo from Facebook and print? As of now, yes, it is. Do we have a future where it's integrated within services, within online services? Snapfish, of course, is one of your own services, but with third-party services like Facebook, I mentioned.
So I think what again Vijay was also trying to explain this. There are going to be a lot of different services which will be built on top of these new platforms, whether it's social platform or what Apple is doing or what Google is doing. What we are trying to do is to make it much easier for users to create those kinds of artifacts that are likely to be more persistent. That's the step number one. So, for example, I have photos on 15 different sites, including Facebook. Now, how can I compose a collage or a photo book much more seamlessly rather than within a particular within a particular site? So even on Snapfish, we have kind of opened it up so you can ingest content from any place and have a template which can then be populated with it. So that's for the consumer scenario. Similarly, for the business scenario, you have document templates that need to be, your marketing collateral needs to be created. How can you create that much more? Or greeting cards. So all these different kinds of content, how it can be composed from content coming from all the different sites. And once that content is created, whenever it's relevant, it will get printed. Sometimes it may not get printed. It will get consumed on your iPad or on some other tablet device, which is fine.
Right. So I was one of the early adopters of Snapfish, and that happened because Snapfish wasn't in India at that time. Snapfish was US, and there was initial sign up. You got few few prints where you only had to pay shipping.
Yeah.
And I have few relatives in US. So
Okay.
every time I uploaded photos from here, ordered shipping, and they would
Cool.
ship
Okay.
for free there.
Okay.
And also what worked for me was the online photo storage. Very early days of
Right.
web
Right.
at that time, and so
Right.
online storage wasn't as ubiquitous
Yes.
as it is now.
Yes, yes.
Snapfish came quite late in India as a service. It came quite late in India, but as good partners now in eBay and some other companies.
Yes.
How do you stack up against other companies like ZoomIn or iTheSuite? There's a plethora of services now.
There are a lot of different providers who have come. It's natural that people catch up in terms of the core concept. The key idea in the Snapfish area now is that we want it to be an open platform on which people can build their own applications.
Okay.
So first of all, people are going away from printing 4x6s.
Right.
So now it's all about creatives, whether it is creatives in terms of photo books or it's in terms of other products that people want to create. Now, what we are saying is there is no end to imagination as to what kind of product that somebody may want to create, and we shouldn't be the only ones
Right.
who are creating those products. So that's where it comes back to now creating an open platform where other application developers can come and build their own content composition services. So that's going to be the big thing that I think going forward we're going to be focusing on.
Another open ecosystem that you mentioned was on the printer when,
Yes.
when you showed applications,
Yes,
and you
yes.
said it's an open platform
Yes,
where
yes.
developers can develop applications. At this moment, you've been doing that.
Yes.
Are you working with partners? So you showed an IRCTC demo.
Yeah.
Are you working with partners to put on applications?
Yes, we are actually. So right now, what we are doing, there is already what we call SDK in beta form.
Okay.
And we are working with identified developers.
Okay.
So that we can bulletproof this SDK. So there are developers in all around the globe, actually, in US, in Europe. We work with other partners in India as well, who are developing these apps on behalf of other clients, customers like, content guys like Yahoo or Wall Street Journal, a whole bunch of other apps. So we are working with this select set of partners right now, and as it gets proven, then it will be like an open marketplace.
Okay. I'm particularly interested in Indian partners because, like IRCTC is an example. There are a lot of devices, a lot of online services where you have Netflix and you
Yes.
can only watch the demo because
Yes.
the service isn't available.
Right.
But IRCTC is closer to home and
Right.
is a service I would most definitely
Right.
use
Right.
when I have a printer like that.
Yeah. So we have actually, it's not been formally launched yet in India, but we have dialogue going on with a number of content people in India who want to deliver their content through this ecosystem. So whether it's for example, we have ability to have what we call scheduled delivery. So every day or every week, certain information can be packaged and delivered to you in a prepackaged format. So you don't have to really go and launch. That's another very important use case that we have found.
Okay. We talked about hotspots and of course the demo showed a lot of case scenarios. In India, broadband is still not prevalent everywhere. So how do you see in terms of your sales or in terms of your reach or impact, how do you see e-print enabled printers doing in India?
So, since I am an R&D person, I can't comment specifically, on the market positioning. The way I would say it is, in India, I think broadband may be slow, but it's growing very rapidly. Both in businesses, because every business realizes it has to run on the net. So then you need broadband. I think the other transformative step that will happen now, is happening already, is emergence of 3G. And the kind of data plans, which are all you can eat kind of plans, as opposed to per byte kind of plans, I think will make, web connectivity, because fundamentally it's about web connectivity. And today, if you are not connected to the web, you're missing out big time. So I think we assume, we take it for granted that this web connectivity, not just for printers but for phones, for tablets, is just going to go exponential. And I see the investment being done by telcos. I think that's going to happen.
Absolutely. Interesting you mentioned 3G. I'm not sure, but I suppose that these printers connect to an always on broadband connection.
Yes.
So is there a future where we have a SIM card enabled printer where
So that's
we are using the telecom operator?
yeah. So that's an idea. We are well aware now. Whether we do it embedded inside, whether you do it through an external dongle, whether people will have independent access points which actually talk 3G on one end and Wi-Fi on the other end.
Okay.
So there are multiples.
But that's the future we are looking
Yes,
forward
yes,
to.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
We've got ACs which are SIM enabled now and
Yes.
things like that.
Right,
so
right,
that
right.
that
Yeah.
looks a definite future.
Yeah.
Last question for me, and this is kind of an ironical thing to ask. One of the market trends that was showed in the presentation was the movement from analog to digital. And for a company which is for a presentation and a session which is talking about printing, that's kind of a awkward statistic. When the world is moving from analog to digital, there are people and there are applications on a lot of platforms where mobile boarding pass is not required, and you just scan your phone
Absolutely.
and get into.
Absolutely.
I'm sure HP is pragmatic to build around those things, but how do you
Right.
look
So
forward to
let
the
me
future?
first of all clarify. So what Vijay was talking about from analog to digital was instead of having what is called analog plate,
Yeah.
which is like you print digitally.
Yeah,
which
for the
what-
traditional printing, not the consumer.
So what that means is actually it's you print only what you need and as much as you need, as opposed to printing brochures of 10,000 units and then the brochure gets out of date by the time you upgrade the product, but the brochure is now out of date, so you have to throw all that. So you only print what you need. So that is the intent. Shorter print runs means things have to be digital because the setup costs are very high on analog. So that's one part. I think your other comment is about this comes up again and again. Relevance of hard copy, of
Yeah.
print. Why print? Actually, it's very interesting. First of all, we want only people to print what is relevant for print.
Yeah.
For a whole variety of reasons. Simple thing is education. The act of writing, the muscle memory
Absolutely.
which is involved,
Absolutely.
the reinforcement of that,
Yeah.
or a documentary evidence, wet ink,
And a lot of legal processes
Yeah,
and
so,
formal.
or what we call conclusion, is something that I'm going to have to keep for a bit of time, or to be able to share. We are working on something together.
Right.
So there are a whole variety of reasons why print has remained very relevant. In fact, paperless office has been there for ever since IT came around 40 years ago.
Right.
So I think the key message, as far as overall HP is concerned, we are here to make whatever makes sense for the user. But when the user wants to get a hard copy, we should make their life easy, not hard. What has happened is the content moved to the web, but the printer was still attached to the PC.
Right.
So I think that's the transformation that we are trying to see.
Absolutely. I think we live in a more of an ambivalent world at this moment rather than a paperless office vision that was. We still had paper notes taken during the press conference and people were on their laptops.
Yes.
The press kit had a brochure as well as a CD
Yeah,
for
right,
the day.
right.
So we live
Yeah.
in an ambivalent world.
Yeah, so there will be multiple media types, and the whole idea is that you should be able to flow between these media types seamlessly. You should be able to reduce friction through this whole process.
And of course, you are not inclined towards a particular platform or a device vendor, but talking to everybody
Yes,
for the
yes,
service.
of course, yeah.
Perfect. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks.